Hey guys, welcome to the Canada Puck Podcast, your weekly, hey, you're still weekly, that's pretty good, recap what's going on in the world of sports, specifically hockey, and even more specifically in Canada, as the name implies. I'm your co-host, Mick. You can find me on Twitter at ProfitMick, and I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host,
Grant, on Twitter at Fourth Line Sports. It is middle of January, NFL's coming to an end. Mm-hmm. This is a time, truthfully, this is going to take a little explaining, but I'm going to get it as concisely. I don't like days getting longer. I'm a winter guy. So when we hit the winter solstice and days start to get longer, I'm just like, not here for it. That it is made so much worse by NHL All-Star festivities and the NFL Pro Bowl always landing on the same weekend. Like, if my life is getting miserable, don't take away sports. Don't fucking make me sit and watch the two most nonsensical games in all of professional whatever. Yeah. I hate it, Mick.
Yeah, no, I'm also not a fan. That's definitely one of those things where, looking ahead in the schedule, I would actively say if the All-Star game was this weekend, let's just take the pot off. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to deal with this nonsense and just go on with our lives. Now, granted, it's probably supposed to be for kids, but in the same breath, this is kind of all guys like me and Grant have. And when you take it away, we have to have some real serious conversations with ourselves that we're not emotionally mature enough and equipped enough to deal with. So don't put this evil on us.
I don't have those tools in my tool belt.
Absolutely not. No, I that's why I don't have a cat. I can't deal with the emotional attention that a cat takes. That's where I'm at, guys. So
well, if that's not the insight people needed, I don't know what is. But it is. Competing for a cat's love is a full-time job. Clear your schedule, quit your work. Guess what? You need to make friends with this cat.
And it's hard because they're kind of shifty. So
yeah, and guess what? They will never love you back.
Yeah, that's a sad reality. Is you're an uphill battle there. So oh boy. But if this is your first foray into our adventure, we were a little bit delayed. Just based on scheduling and vast amounts of fatigue that come from just living in Calgary in the winter. Oh my gosh, this city is just lovely. We are back on a Saturday morning, which is kind of our break glass in case of emergency. There we go. That's what I was trying to get to. So here we are in our emergency pod in the bunker on a Saturday morning. We're going to get an old school Canada Puck show, guys. We're going to do some headlines to recap the week that was with the Canadian teams, look ahead at kind of the next 2 days. So this will be this Saturday, today, the day that's dropping. Maybe a little bit of Sunday. Maybe I'll pick a game from Sunday, and then maybe we'll look ahead to see what's going on Monday, Tuesday, and go from there. So
I dig it. Can't wait.
Sick.
I don't mind the look ahead stuff. Obviously, I'm doing that stuff anyways. But at the root of who I am, I really look forward to day gambling. So I'm excited to get some picks up there.
It's true. We'll get to that when we get to our segments and we can kind of talk about what those were. But I think that means we have to start with headlines, guys, right at the top. So we're going to pull up the standings. I'm going to go reverse order, scroll down quickly to the bottom so that we don't see any of the teams at the top. Spoilers. It was spoiled for me. I didn't see it. Maybe go to the bottom. There we go. Scroll up. And 29th still. Ottawa Senators. God damn it. Why are you still on the bottom? Oh, that is because since we last spoke, you just lost. Oh, no, they beat the Sharks and they beat the Habs. There you go.
When we talked about this, we facetiously said they've got 2 winnable games. Maybe we said 1 winnable game. And they almost blew it. They were up 4-0 or 4-1 on the Sharks, and it was 4-4 with less than a minute to go. Ottawa came back. The miracle in Canada, or maybe there's a fun alliteration device someone can put in there. Anyways, what are we talking? If this feels like the new Vancouver Canucks to me, and as much as I wanted to root for Ottawa from the get-go and say this is the truculence that Canada Puck loves in hockey teams, it is not that. They are not what they were, and I'm finding myself just wanting to hate this team.
I also, we've been talking about them now for, I guess, all season as they've been at the bottom. Is just they're not doing anything. Where's this rebuild going? I've started to see rumors that Jacob Chikrin is now on the way out of town, right? The big piece that they brought in last year it was a first. They signed him to kind of a multi-year deal. Well, apparently he's not fitting in with the organization. Who would have thought that the big stats loser guy from Arizona Coyotes that never won anything didn't provide a winning culture. Odd. So it looks like potentially he's on the move. And even if he's not, those are the rumors that you now get swamped with. And people get to speculate and pull this team apart because obviously they're not in a winning formula. And they've kind of established like a losing culture, right? And I don't know how you get out of it at this point, right? Outside of either have to kind of like be bullheaded and like blinders on and go straight ahead with this plan and change nothing and think this is smart and then overpay your superstars again and again, or take terms and start making like big key piece or start moving key pieces, right? So unfortunately that's where we're at, Ottawa.
I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I have at least one of them. Don't hire Jacques Meltain. Don't bring him in as a coach. Just don't. You lost your GM, you lost your coach. Basically, the face of, the leadership that everybody is looking to is gone. And then you bring on some old fuzzy fuck who hasn't been in the NHL in years. And surprise, surprise, nobody wants to play for him. So, you know what? Figure shit out, Ottawa.
Yeah. So just the rest of January here, as we're looking at the schedule on the screen, they've got the Jets tonight, Flyers tomorrow, so that's a back-to-back game. Montreal on Tuesday. Thursday, you have the Bruins, and then you get the Rangers next Saturday, followed by the Predators, who are playing some good hockey, guys, and then the Red Wings end the month. So, look ahead, easy pulse. You maybe are picking up 2 wins, but I'm looking at 5 potential losses. So 3 and 4, you're exceeding my expectations. That's still poor shit. So I don't know if you guys are going to pull it out here. And all I know is I love me some Drake Batherson. Back when we used to play FanDuel a little bit more on the show, as opposed to not at all that we play now. And Batherson has a soft spot in my heart. So if there was a way of getting him on your team, I would be like a big believer. I would definitely get that bandwagon going for the team that lands at Drake Batherson. That's where we get to be at, because I get to trade my love.
Well, that's Still, love note aside, Drake Batherson landing on the Maple Leafs sounds like it would be the actual playing out of the Stan Marsh gif, or no? Who's Stan's dad?
Yeah,
Randy
Marsh. Yeah. Oh, that's exactly what that'd be. But even if he went to the Devils, I'd be like, all right, let's go, guys. Love the Devils. Devils. What am I talking about? All right, let's move on to the next team before we get too goofy. So we gotta go back to the standings and slowly move up. I don't think it's a big leap because I don't know if the next team is that good. Oh, look at that. 24th from the bottom between Columbus, Minnesota, Buffalo, and St. Louis. You get to the Montreal Canadiens at 24th, 45 points. They are... What did they do? They lost to Edmonton last week. Then they beat Colorado. They beat New Jersey. And they lost to the Senators. So what does that say about your season? I don't know.
I did a little bit of a look at Montreal this morning. Analytically, they still kind of piss poor. But I was surprised to see that goaltending has been what's keeping them afloat. They've allowed... Basically, other than getting shelled twice, they've allowed 1 or fewer goals at 5-on-5 in 4 of their last 6. And I thought that was an interesting tidbit because when you reconcile that with their metrics, it's fucking god-awful. These guys are getting absolutely peppered on a nightly basis. So whatever it is they've done recently in terms of wins, the bottom's going to fall out and this team's going to go on a shit spiral.
Gotcha. So the only thing I've noticed, and I wonder... It's hard to know now, but I do wonder if we look back in a year or two and look at some of these wins, right, where this team is, they're bottom feeders. Let's call them that. They're bottom feeders, guys. Scroll back in their schedule here. Look, they're losing to the Sabres. They're losing to the Philadelphia's. They're losing to San Jose. They lost to San Jose. But then look at the big wins they put up. Dallas, people think they're a pretty good Stanley Cup contender, right? The Rangers, people love them. The Avalanche and the Devils. Those are people's preseason's pick for the Cup. So just in January alone, you've taken down 4 champions. And I do wonder if this installs something, or if this is the sign that Martin St. Louis has installed kind of an opportunistic winning culture here with this young Habs team, right? And these guys don't roll over. They're not just the easy pickings. They're the ones that can kind of pick their spots and take down the Giants. And being this early on in the development in a rebuild and getting to have that kind of those winning cultures, that can-do attitude, I think is going to go far, right? And that's always kind of been the Montreal attitude, right? Not roll over, have kind of a solid backbone, have a good culture throughout your organization. And I wonder if this is like the groundwork of what we're seeing right now, right? This kind of scrappy little group that isn't going to just roll over.
I hate going back to this, but I'll say it again because I think it's worth repeating. And I really think a lot of this has to do with Martin St. Louis. Like what you're describing is exactly Martin St. Louis playing hockey. He was that like undersized, I'm going to prove you wrong type guy, and that's really what the on ice product is. And I can't help but draw the parallel, connect the dots. This is like gotta be Martin St. Louis' influence.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was saying with that establishing that culture, right? So as they go forward, they start having, when they have another high draft pick this year, right? Put that in with your first couple picks from the last years. Do they have a superstar? No. Are they going to have cap space to maybe bring in some talent from somewhere else into a winning culture? Great, awesome. When you bring in a loser like a Jacob Chicker into a losing culture, does he stay a loser? Probably. What if you bring him into a winning culture? I don't know. Do things change? Right, so I think that's kind of maybe the plus, the perk that we'll see from some of the acquisitions in the future, right? And
I just have to say, I wouldn't trust Kent Hughes, Canadiens GM, to make this draft pick work. Like, he's got an underwhelming draft history to begin his tenure as general manager. I don't know if he's looking. It just feels like he's trying to do too much. Like, I'm gonna fucking prove everybody wrong and do this. No, just take the best player available, man. Like, don't fucking overthink this.
I mean, history says they're probably gonna fuck this up and take some controversial pick or screw something up. Like that's kind of what the short history is. But kind of more like the big brain off the ice, not the players' point of view. I don't know. It's not the as dark as it could be, right? Like, look across the province to, like, say, the Ottawa, if you're the Montreal Canadiens right now, and you're like, I kind of feel like we're doing better than them. And they're supposed to be, like, way ahead of the rebuild and making the postseason this year, and, like, we're a better team organization. So, wow, congratulations, Montreal. You're a better organization than the Ottawa. What am I talking about? What kind of praise am I? Oh, my gosh. Like, I just heard what I was saying. It just caught up. My brain just caught up with what I was saying. Of course they're a better organization. Get the fuck out of here. You suck, Ottawa. All right, let's play some Puck Doku.
Okay, Puck Doku.
All right, so
I like to brag, but sorry, go ahead.
Grant is making me his bitch in this contest. I think he's 0-4. I'm 0-4 going up against him. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take turns. We're gonna play golf style. We're gonna pull up the Puck Doku for the day. We're just gonna take turns and we're gonna see how we make out. So we're going lowest possible percentage with 3 picks, and the winner gets something. Winner gets something. Do we know what that is? No.
Yeah, we'll never know. Maybe you'll never know. Maybe we'll figure it out. I don't know. I took a peek at this before we started recording this morning, and I got excited. This is not your prototypical square that you think a guy like Grant might excel at, but there's a few like nuggets tucked way down there that I think I'm going to make you pay with.
All right.
The one square that scares me, though, so across the top, our columns are Minnesota Wild, Calgary Flames, 1,000 points. Our rows are Detroit, so Red Wings, Sabres, and under 1,000 games played. If you go to bottom right square, under 1,000 games played, but 1,000 or more points, how many players can that be? Like 6, maybe 7?
Yeah, you're probably not looking at a lot, right? This is one of those, like, 100-point scorers, and you see the Coyotes show up, and you're like, Coyotes, 100 points in a season? I don't think that exists. Shoot.
So one guy immediately came to mind. Was like, that's like a 1 in 6 chance, and everybody's going to know this guy. He's like, I'm staying the fuck away from that square.
Yeah,
not doing it.
All right.
But where I am going is to the Calgary Flames under 1,000 games played. There was a time in my life where I took hockey seriously, and there was a time in my life when I went to some camps. One of those camps was the Salmon Arms Silverbacks, and I skated with 2 players that weekend or that week, Travis Zajac and Chris Chucko, both of whom were drafted in the first round of the 2004 NHL draft. Travis Zajac had a brilliant career, spent time with the Devils, Wild. Was he in the Islanders too? Anyways, doesn't matter. The other guy, who I expected to go further than Travis Zajac, was Chris Chucko. Chris Chucko was the first-round draft pick of the Flames in 2004, and he played less than 10 games in the NHL.
Okay.
So
Chris ST.
So Chris is KRIS, and then Chucko, as you expect it to be.
Yep, there you go. Chris Chucko, 2 years. Calgary Flames, 0.1%.
Yeah.
All right. You have to do homework for that one. They have to go play hockey. Poor bastard. All right, I might as well take the other kind of free square. So Minnesota Wild, under 1,000 games played. That's a lot of games. So just anyone that's played for that team. Okay, I just have to go somewhat obscure. Minnesota Wild. Is that too obscure? Let's go with... scrape the memory banks just a little bit. Someone that maybe people forget played there. Let's go with Manny Fernandez, the goalie. Oh, I maybe spelled Manny wrong. Manny? Let's maybe go right to Fernandez. Do. No, definitely not happening. Is Manny Fernandez not a real person? Did I make that up?
Manny Fernandez? No, he was a goalie.
Is it? Manny... I don't know if he was.
Let's just see if he's got a fucky spelling here. Manny Fernandez.
Manny. It's not popping up.
Manny Fernandez?
Not enough. There? Yeah, Manny. I have Manny Malhotra, Manny Legacy, Manny.
Weird.
Okay. Well, why don't we come back to that as my first pick? I will dig down on this and see what am I missing with Fernandez. Manny.
Oh, does he go by Emmanuel Fernandez?
He definitely probably goes with Emmanuel. Emmanuel Fernandez. 2%. There we go. Okay. All right.
Wow. That one threw me for a loop, too.
Yeah. I was like, See, this is one of those things where I'm like, sometimes when you pick players and they don't exist, that's odd. Basketball players are fucky like that, too, because who is it? Enes Kanter is now like Enes Freedom? So if you ever have to pick him for some reason, if you're like a Utah Jazz and a Boston Celtic, I'm like, oh, Enes Kanter. No, can't ever find his name. I'm like, oh yeah, Enes Freedom. There you go. That's the click.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know who has got the best names? Baseball players from the 1890s.
Ooh.
I came across an Icebox Chamberlain the other day. I was like, Icebox Chamberlain?
Sick. Also, football players from like the 40s and stuff like that, they have some pretty... There's this football podcast, this fantasy one I listen to, and they like go back and they listen to, what's their guy? I'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. Let's see. All right, so if we scroll back up the list, we don't have to go very far. We have to go 2 points. Only 2 points up on the Montreal Canadiens. We get to the Calgary Flames. How'd the Calgary Flames do this week? Where are we at? Big call from Grant. They beat the Knights last weekend. Great call by him. This week overtime. Last dying minutes, they came back, beat the Coyotes, and then they lost a pretty close game against the Maple Leafs on Thursday. So, decent hockey being played right now by the Flames in the last 5 anyways.
Yep, this is as good as it gets. I keep saying it, but like this is like peak Flames. I don't know if they're going to have enough to sneak into the playoffs, but it's not going to get better than what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Lost a lot of money on the Tuesday. I had the Coyotes to win. No, it was close. If it wasn't for a power play with 2 minutes left to go in overtime, it might have been all right because they were looking pretty good. So get the Oilers tonight, Blues, Blue Jackets, Blackhawks next week. So if you're hot, this is a great time to be hot on your schedule, right? Build up some points, get going. That's it. Nothing else. Move on.
Yeah, I got nothing to say about these clowns. I kind of all tuckered out with the Flames. Don't really care.
Oh, so much so. Like, again, we mentioned Thursday night, we were supposed to record a podcast, potentially talk. Leafs are in town. My favorite team. Did I have any inclination of going and watching Austin Matthews score a hat trick against the Flames? No. Oilers tonight. Grant, do you have any inclination to go watch Leon Draisaitl score a hat trick tonight against the Flames? No.
I like that. shine, but no, I don't.
No, yeah.
It didn't even cross my mind. I was never thinking I have to go to this game and watch the Flames and Oilers play.
Oh, it's way easier. Just sit on my couch, throw it on my TV, I can get up, go to the bathroom. Not paying $12 for beer. I don't have to deal with a bunch of people from Calgary. It's great. Let's see. So we keep going up from the Flames. That exciting segment. I think we have to get to 12. There we go. Look at it. The Oilers keep on climbing. Last week, they might have been low teens. This week, they're not even in the teens. They're a preteen right now. So let's see. Oilers, how you doing?
Well,
they're
12
on,
in a row.
Yeah, 12-game win streak. Cool.
Yeah, 12 games in a row. And they had an 8-gamer before that. So what is that? A 20-2 stretch or something like that? Mm-hmm. And they just, with their last win, eclipsed the Los Angeles Kings for third in the Pacific Division. I did a dive on these guys last weekend after we recorded, and they have a conceivable shot of catching the top team in this conference, really in the NHL. They were, I think, 16 points back 12 points back with 4 games in hand. So really, within striking distance, anything could happen.
Yeah.
But we all know that we've seen this team do this in the past. This is the exact streak they went on after they got Matthias Ekholm in January of last year, where they just started flourishing. The timing with this team is going to be everything. Like, it's great that you're doing this in January and you're back in a playoff spot, but you're now in a playoff spot. Can you maintain this until June, or can you pick it back up when it counts most?
Yeah, no, that's fair. It looked bleak a little bit in Edmonton until Woodcroft got moved, and yeah, they've been kind of clipping through then. I might just be riding hard against the Oilers until they lose, because I think there's probably some value, maybe some inflated lines, and 12 in a row. That's getting up there. That's one of those things where something probably falls off. I did mean to look into this, and I meant to look into this. I recall the Ottawa Senators. There was a year when there was Alfredson, Spezza, and Heatley. So it was either like 2007, 2008, 2009. I'm not sure exactly. Probably not 2009, because I think that was probably when Heatley started to fall out a little bit with the club. And that was the summer he was traded. But they went on a 16-game win streak or something like that. Started the season. Was the year, I believe, it propelled them to the Stanley Cup Finals, right, with this high offensive club. And I'm wondering if we're seeing that this regular season success, where we have this continued winning from this team that's continuing to produce, does it get us some type of long postseason run, right? Like, is this the predecessor of that coming up?
One an Oilers fan could hope. One of not really a tangent, but one of the other things that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way with this team, the constant trade chatter, man. Like, it's just like every week some NHL insider's talking about this guy moving. Yeah. It's either Warren Fogle, Brent Kulak, Jack Campbell's been going somewhere for the last 6 months. Like, it's just like, fuck, man. Until something actually happens, I wish people would just shut up. Like, stop fucking thinking you have all the answers. This is going to happen. Mm-hmm. Why would they trade anybody right now? Why would you trade anybody amidst a 12-game winning streak? You'd be like, we want to mess with this chemistry.
So I haven't dove in that. That's one of the things I had to talk about with one of the teams that's coming up on the list. Like, that's kind of the only thing I had for them. And it seems like a weak UFA class. Like, I'm not hearing these names that are being like thrown around as things that would change our scale, right? Like, they're kind of just, I don't know, like not very attractive pieces that are being brought in. And like, will the Oilers make some moves before the trade deadline? Well, they should, right? Especially if you're sitting second, you have a chance at first. If guys are playing well, reward the team, right?
Yeah, I just at the same time. So what I've heard, my understanding, Connor McDavid fought to keep Warren Fogle. They were going to trade him this offseason, okay, and he's like, no, keep him. They kept him, and lo and behold, he's producing. He's probably having one of his best stretches as an Oiler recently. And so one of the guys who's been most rumored to be out the door, but has the buy-in of the dressing room, why would you sour that relationship? Like, why would you do all of this work to get this team into the position they are now, and just be like, all right, guys, we're where we need to be, and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, but we're going to trade Warren because he cost $3 million, and who knows? Maybe a wily veteran with truculence and grit is exactly what we're missing in the postseason. Like it'd be an ill-fated move for, oh my God, what's Oilers GM Ken
Holland?
Anyways, Ken Holland
Ken
to trade
Holland.
Anybody right now.
Yeah.
Also, fate loves irony. I expect Edmonton, well, more on this later. I expect Edmonton to get to 13. Then they're going to lose to both the Columbus Blue Jackets and Chicago Blackhawks.
Huh. All right. Well, good thing I wrote that down on my little piece of paper. Good. Excellent. Okay. That means 2 teams down. Guys, that's it. We kind of cleared out that middle section expertly. Man, the Calgary Flames fans are like, oh boy, I'm glad to tune in today. Man, that's some expert analysis from those guys. Clearly some puckheads over there talking about my team. Well, maybe if your team did something, losers. That means we're back, though, to Puck Doku. Grant, do you have a second pick on the board with your 1.9% lead on me?
And this is it. Like, this is where it gets a little, we'll call it dicey. Because I think I got a good one, but I also, I got to protect my lead. So it's a delicate balance.
Do you have a good one and you're just going to randomly pick Jordan Stoll for no reason at the last second as your mouth opens? Really? You're not going to do that? Huh.
All right, I'm just going to go for it. There's a guy, maybe you've forgotten about him, but a guy named Yuri Hoodler. He played for both the Detroit Red Wings and Calgary Flames. I'm hoping at least some people forgot about that.
Yuri. That's funny. That's where my mind was going as well. Oh my gosh. Like, if I could spell a name, that would be sick. Oh, I see. J-I-R-I. J-I-R-I. 10%. Oh, I had a better one. That's a damn shame.
Damn. For that square, you had a better one?
I had a better one, yeah. All right.
Fucking do tell. You can't leave me on a...
Oh, Curtis Joseph was the better answer. He was actually 4%, so...
Damn.
Yeah. All right. All right, so now I'm stuck looking here. 1,000-point career. Guy played for the Red Wings. Did someone play for the Red Wings late that got to 1,000 points in their career? Oh, no, I'm taking stabs in the dark on that one. That's a shame. That's a real damn shame. Let's see. 1,000 under careers played. Now it's just going to be dead air. I have no one to pick. I have nowhere to go.
I didn't leave you with much. I feel guilty now for taking that.
No, that's the one. That's obviously was the next choice, right? Because that's where my mind went to immediately. Did anyone play for Buffalo and Calgary recently?
I think so.
Maybe. Where did Nikita Zadorov come from? Nikita Zadorov, was he a Sabre? Let's do it. Fuck it. Nikita Zadorov. Is that even a player? Nikita Zadorov, 2013 to present. Boom, 13%. So, all right. So you still have a 5% advantage. 15 to 10.1. So it's a 4.9% lead.
All right. Well, I like where this is going.
Yeah, that's close. I'll be honest with you. I thought I was dead in the water. I was like, I'm just taking a miss here. So I don't know where the Zadorov came from in my brain, but I appreciate it. All right, so from the Oilers at 12th, those preteens, we scroll up to another preteen team with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Speak of the Devils, they just played the Edmonton Oilers and the Flames this week. So since last week, they got... They lost to the Avalanche. Oh, they blew a lead to the Avalanche. That's right. They were up like 3-0. Then they were up 2-0 against the Red Wings the next day. Lost that game. Then they were up 2-0 against the Oilers. Lost that game. And then they went up... Oh, no, I think they were down 2-0. Came back, beat the Flames. They've got the Canucks, Seattle this weekend, followed by Winnipeg at home on Wednesday. Oh, and then Winnipeg next Saturday. So that's kind of a pretty tough little part of the schedule, right? Some top teams coming up. You have anything on the Leafs?
Do you know, was the Leafs-Oilers game on... Was it televised?
It was regional. So unless you have Sportsnet Edmonton or whatever I guess it'd be, you could not watch it. So they have Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, 7 o'clock Tuesday night, and only people in the Edmonton area were allowed to watch that game.
Like, how in the fuck does that make sense?
How's that not a nationally broadcast game? Like, everywhere should be seeing that game. Like, you want to promote your league, NHL? Get over these fucking stupid regional deals that you have. That's absolutely horseshit. That should be on TSN, that should be on SportsCenter, that should be on CBC that night.
That should be on ESPN or ABC or TNT. It should be literally broadcast everywhere. Those are the two marquee names of the NHL. It makes no sense.
Absolute horseshit. And this is why we have to sit and have these stupid content or these conversations about salary cap. When people have these conversations like, oh, you can't pay. And I'm like, that's why. Because that's bullshit. Like, no one can watch this game. Like, unless you have some type of private service. Stupid. Absolutely, it's the dumbest thing.
You know what wasn't regionally blacked out? The Flames versus Maple Leafs. And I was like, who fucking cares? Who cares about this game on the second night of a back-to-back or that, like after a big marquee showdown like this?
Yeah.
NHL, pull your head out of your ass. You fucking suck at this.
Pretty much. Leafs, they're in, I don't know. They're in a bit of tailspin. You know, you hear all the slander. And it's one of those things where the media market is quite loud. Well, I think they're like 2 or 3 points back from the Panthers, who have also lost 5 games in a row, who are in the middle of a tailspin. It happens to good teams. I don't think the Panthers fan that exists, the one guy, I don't think he's upset. I don't think he's trading the team. I don't think he's like foreclosing on the season. But if you listen to certain Maple Leaf circles, it's the worst thing that's literally ever happened to this team is this current stretch. So, do they right things? Yeah, they'll be all right. Do they lose enough to make Sheldon Keefe not their bench boss in the future? Maybe.
Okay, well, let's talk about this then. Jay Woodcroft, is he a fit in Toronto?
Someone like maybe a Craig Berube, right? Just someone who's a little bit more kind of the opposite of what they have, right? I think would probably be an option. And I wouldn't be surprised if just this team could use a new voice in the locker room, right? Like, I think it's time. And I think we've seen kind of enough struggles that I don't know if it would, like, if they continued on, let's say they lose this weekend, they go 0-4, I could, like, why not? Why not make the move?
Fair. I think coaching, you kind of get a feel, like, as an Oilers fan, I kind of knew Jay Woodcroft's time was coming to an end. You just kind of get this feeling, you're like, it's just time to move on. Yeah. I'm not a Leafs fan, but I'm starting to get that feeling. Yeah. Don't have my fingers, like, right on the pulse, but it's not working. People are pissed off. There feels like there's more turbulence in the locker room these days. It just doesn't feel like a cohesive group.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's why I'm at the point where I'm just like, I feel like a change would be good. And now, the conversation of, well, you can't just blame the coach, you can't just blame the GM. Since they've drafted Austin Matthews, they've really not had a change in the front office. Yeah, they lost Lou Lamoriello. He actually went somewhere else, and they promoted Kyle Dubas. But I would say that's more of a lateral move than like an actual overhaul. Mike Babcock got fired, who was this group's first coach. But he's been proven to be kind of a piece of shit. He didn't even make a preseason. Like, he didn't last a whole preseason in Columbus this year, guys. So, like, maybe Mike Babcock wasn't a good coach. So, really, they got rid of a bad person and brought in a second person. So, this is really the first coach that's been fired from this organization, right? And Kyle Dubas didn't even get fired. He left on his own accord because he was trying to power play, and they called him out on his bullshit. So, it's not like this team is, like, spinning through the coaching cycle. And we've seen it time and time again, these boosts, right? Like, look at what happened to Vancouver last year. People love Bruce Boudreau. People were cheering for that guy. When they fired him, that was a huge ordeal. I'll be honest with you, that kind of looks like a pretty good firing. Like, hindsight, not the worst move I've ever seen, right? And sometimes that's what you need to just unite a team, right? Bring in a different a voice, someone with a little bit more establishment, someone who's maybe won a Stanley Cup. And, like, I don't know what the negative is with this group, so I wouldn't be against it if it happens.
Well, for your sake, I hope it happens, because the Leafs lasting another underperforming season with the core four, I just can't handle that off-season rhetoric anymore, man. Like, just fucking do something so people will shut up about this. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a bad headspace. Just want everybody to shut up about things.
Well, that's where I'm at too. Like, I was like, I kind of want it just to happen and it's just over. And then, like, if it doesn't work, be like, okay, now we can have the next conversation. But guess what? What if it does work? Also, I don't know. I don't think being a top 10 team in the league right now, like or even like a top 12 or whatever you want to say, that's still pretty good. Like, it's so really good. So, I don't know, maybe everyone's expectations are a little too high.
Yeah. Those are never going to come down in Toronto.
No, not at all. Winnipeg Jets. What's Winnipeg doing? They were head of the league. I think they've fallen down. Oh, wait, sorry. We have to scroll back up. I think I did this to the Jets last week. I apologize. You were our Canada Puck champion. You were top of the league last week, and now you're losers at third. You're a terrible team that's in third in the standings. You suck.
Fat dicks.
What have you done? You lost to the Flyers and the Islanders? You kidding me?
Yeah, I love our high and mighty opinions from our parents' basements.
Yeah.
But again, so I've talked about the unsustainable play of the Winnipeg Jets. They're not alone in this, but they were one of them. I'm like, guess what? When Connor Hellebuck isn't stealing you games, it's really hard to win them when you're this bad analytically. So I'm not saying they deserve this, but this might have been coming.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they're obviously they're going to stumble a little bit right now. Like, they could probably play 500 hockey and finish as a top 7-8 team in the league, probably fairly simply. I think Kyle Connor is coming back from the injury that he had, so they're getting back one of their leading or best goal scorers. So you think that kind of offense, especially a team that's playing this well, getting a guy like that back should in theory help and kind of just keep things rolling. So
I will say this, like, maybe numbers doesn't paint the right picture for everybody, but heading into tonight's action, Winnipeg Jets goalies, primarily Connor Hellebuck, have combined for a 94.1 save percentage at 5-on-5. That's like the highest on record of the last 10 years. I stopped looking. I was like, no, I'm not digging into this anymore. Mm-hmm. I've already seen everything that I need to see. They're operating way above where they should be. Okay. So, anyways, and this has come down, Mick. This fucking percentage has come down. I don't even know what it was at the end of last week when they were best in the NHL. They've lost 2 games since then. So anyways.
Sorry, they lost to the Flyers and they beat the Islanders. I think I said that. I think I said that they lost both. I think they lost to the Flyers and then beat the Islanders. So,
gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Nevertheless, still a team that's operating way above where they should be. And guess what? I remember. Anyways, enjoy this, Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuck cannot maintain this. If he gets through this season with this, good for you guys. Go on a run. You know, we stopped cheering for you a long while ago, but it's not a forever play, and you got 8 years of regression coming, so enjoy it.
Yeah, there you go. Sweet. They got Senators tonight. Probably winnable game. Should be winnable. Definitely should be favorites. Do they blow it? No, maybe. Followed by the Bruins, then 2 affairs with the Maple Leafs next week. So, if you want to throw your weight around as a heavyweight in the league, I don't think that the Bruins and the Maple Leafs are terrible litmus tests, right? In terms of kind of standards for what we expect in the league for like good teams. You come out next week 2-1, we have a conversation. At 1-2 or 0-3, then you start being like, maybe they're pretenders, right? So something to look forward to the next week. You should have some like heavyweight bouts coming up. So, but they're probably regionally locked. So enjoy it. Greater Winnipeg area. That's can't wait for all 80,000 of you to tune in and watch. Woohoo!
That's why they get 10,000 fans to a game now, because everybody just gets to watch at home, like the schlubs that we are.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's actually the better way of doing it. Not show it in the region, so you have to go to the game. That's smart. But that means 2 more teams. There's only 1 team left before we crown Canada Puck champion for the week. It means we have to go to Puck Doku. We've got a bit of a battle ourselves, too. Grant's got a 4.9% lead. He's going to throw up a dart here on the last pick. And, I don't know, see what happens, because
I've got so many, like, I don't know if I could necessarily fill the square, but I've got to play for at least 4 of the 5.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to figure out what the best way of proceeding is. Because, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm taking Red Wings and the 1,000-plus points category.
Okay.
And there's a couple names that come to mind, I'm sure, for most people. I mean, you can go back to the glory days. Gordie Howe. He's got all the points in the world. You can take somebody more contemporary like Brendan Shanahan, somebody who helped the dynasties in the mid-90s, early aughts.
Okay.
Or, and these are really the 2 names that I'm just debating between. There are 2 legends in their own rights, maybe who people may have forgotten played there. Luc Robitaille and Mike Modano finished his career with the Detroit Red Wings, and I'm sure you've heard this story. It was floating around on, I think, Spit and Chicklets for a while. Anyways, he needed one game to get to 1,500 career games, and Mr. Dick himself, oh my God, who was the Leafs coach we were just talking about?
Bruce Boudreau.
God damn it, what's his name?
Sheldon Keefe.
No, the other guy who got fired.
Mike Babcock. Okay.
Jesus, Mike Babcock. So Mike Babcock scratched Mike Modano in the last regular season game to leave him at $14.99. Like, if that doesn't give you the taste of who Mike Babcock is as a person, I don't, like, fuck, man, tell him to get dressed, put him out for a shift, and then tell him this was it. Fuck off. Like, don't take this man's glory from him. Anyways, he's sitting at 1,499 career games because of Mike Babcock.
Sick. He's
also sitting north of 1,000 points, and I'm just going to go with it. Mike Modano.
Mike Modano. 6%!
Yeah!
All right, so that means I have to get a 1%er to... Oh, okay. A 1%er to win. Zutalor. I don't know that random player for Buffalo and Minnesota that's going to be worth 1%. I do kind of like looking afterwards after Puckdoku and you say, like, what's the best bracket? And some guys, like, dialing in, like, 0.1s across the board. And I'm like, so clearly you just cheated. Because no one know that, like, that Ralph Sampson played for the Oilers and Montreal Canadiens. Like, that's just not a thing that, like, is on the top of people's domes. No. Is there some scrub that fits one of these categories that's, like, more obvious? No. I don't think I'm going to be able to hit a 1% here. Let's try... Ooh. I think I'll play Dave Anderchuk, probably 1,000 points, played for Buffalo. I don't know if you're going to get other ones. Adam Oates. Did Adam Oates ever play for the Sabres? Try it. All right, see what happens. Adam Oates. Sabres, incorrect.
Try Alexander McGillney in that square.
Alexander McGillney. McGillney.
It might be DRE instead of DER. I'm not sure what you tried.
Oh, there he is. 12%. Anderchuk was 11.
Under 1,000 games played and 1,000 plus points. Pat LaFontaine.
Pat LaFontaine. 8%.
I figured he was going to be way up there. Anyways, I'm surprised this might have been a high one, but Eric Stahl, he played with both Minnesota and Buffalo.
Yeah, I had him in, like, what's the other? Colic Poso, I think, hits both of those. But, I don't know, I kind of figured they'd just be, like, higher percentage. 7%. Is that what that said? Yeah, here we go. Best game of the day. Niedermeyer. Oh, Doug Gilmour. There you go. That could have been a 3%er. I want to see our bracket, though. That's what I want to see. 7%.
Did we get anybody for... Oh, yeah, you said... Hang on. Did we fill our bracket?
No, I had one wrong guess because I had a miss. So we're done.
Oh.
So 8 and 9. Although it's not showing...
Gotcha.
Yeah, why isn't it showing me stats for this? Oh, it just reset it. Puckdoku's having a moment, people, so we can't go through and, like, look at all the percentages of people, so we're going to have to leave it at that.
We had a good run.
Yeah.
And it gets us to the exciting conclusion of the last Canadian team we have to talk about.
Best in the league! Vancouver Canucks! Pew pew! What did they do last week? They beat the Sabres 1-0. Then they lost to the Blue Jackets, and then they beat the Coyotes. Huh. Oh, and they got a killer week. Leafs tonight, which is probably their Super Bowl. So the Canucks are definitely coming out in, like, droves and just fucking hammering this game and, like, let's go. And then you get the Blackhawks, Blues, and Blue Jackets next week, so...
I said this last week. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I just have to stop betting against the Canucks. I have bet against them in every one of their wins for probably the last, I don't know, 2 weeks. I fucking hate the Canucks. I don't like them. I don't like that they're winning. They are like Winnipeg in the sense that they just shouldn't be doing what they're doing, but here they are doing it. Like I said, maybe they're paid. Maybe this debt was paid with last year's suboptimal metrics. But they aren't this good, Mick, and it's fucking driving me crazy. I keep waiting for the pendulum to swing, and it's not swinging. It just fucking keeps teetering higher and higher and higher. You know what? It's more likely to just do a loop than just start swinging back at this point. Mm-hmm. That's how much momentum, like unsustainable momentum, they have carrying them in that direction.
That's kind of the feel I get tonight. I'm actually going out to 5. Okay, yeah, I'm actually going out of my way to go watch this with a Canucks friend of mine tonight. This game, I was like, oh, it's perfect. It's like a little mini Super Bowl for us. Perfect, fun little night. Go watch, have some beers, eat some pizza. So I'll get a bit of better, hopefully understanding. Well, not a better understanding, better feel for kind of what this team looks like against the Leafs. No, that's a lie. Because, again, they're going to show up in droves because this is really important to them. People in the national media are actually going to pay attention to them. They're probably going to play well tonight. But, yeah, I don't buy it either. Something stinks about what's happening here, and I don't believe it. But also, like, the rumors about this team are underwhelming. So listen to just other media outlets. The Canucks right now are heavily invested, or not invested, but involved in talks potentially to get Jake Guentzel as a top 6 forward, bring him in for a postseason run. And that just seems really, like, I don't care. Like so little fucks are given in that statement. I'm like, I don't know if Jake Guentzel moves a needle for me, but that is the exact move that the Vancouver Canucks should do. Bring in a very boring, generic Melbatos piece of player at no one will ever talk about. That sounds lovely.
What makes me excited about the prospect of that is Kyle Dubas absolutely fleecing the Canucks, because I can't imagine he deals Jake Guentzel from a place of weakness, especially to a team like the Canucks, who wholeheartedly believes that they have all the answers and can cure cancer. So, you know what? That's the one thing that would make me really happy, with seeing somebody absolutely just fleece the Canucks in a trade.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That actually, I didn't really consider that. I didn't think about the Dubas, because that was one thing with Dubas's trades. Like, he did so much, and sometimes I'm like, I get it, but like it's too many moving parts. You know, like, it's just, I don't know. It seems complicated, and like he kind of over confused things. So watching him do that to other teams, that'd be a good feeling. Take advantage of somebody, as opposed to just the Leafs that just give players to the Canucks all the time. And then they go on to have these, like, miracle seasons. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that Josh Levo was a 50-point scorer in the league. Huh, that's strange.
Oh. Okay, so in a hypothetical scenario where the Pittsburgh Penguins trade Jake Guentzel to the Vancouver Canucks, what does Pittsburgh get back?
I have no idea what this team is doing in terms of, like, prospects, potentially moving some type of prospect or an upcoming pick or something like that, and maybe overpaying. Now, Vancouver last year also traded Bo Horvat for a first, used that first to trade for Hronek, and I thought that was a stupid, absolutely ridiculous trade. So far, it's worked. Like, Hronek has played very well with Quinn Hughes, and it looks like one of the better defensive pairings, so I don't know. Maybe they're a bit more dialed in with good trade value in Vancouver. I don't have a lot of trades that I can point and say, like, aha, they got fleeced on that one. So I don't know. I don't know what Guentzel's like that. Like, if he moved for a third, I'd be like, yeah, that seems like appropriate value. Maybe a second. I don't know. What is Jake Guentzel good?
Yeah, well, he's that trigger man everybody needs. I think that the coming back would be at least a first plus a prospect. Okay. But again, I don't know if Pittsburgh's looking to, like, retool their roster, because they're not out of it in the Metro either. Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting, and I'm excited about the trade deadline, because as much as we shit on the All-Star break, it is also a precursor to trade deadline mania. Mm-hmm. And once we get over the All-Star break in a couple weeks here, we got exciting stuff to talk about.
Very much so. And I've always been nervous the last couple of years as a Leafs fan with Kyle Dubas, because he just got fast and loose. Like, last year, I kept getting notifications on my phone, and I was just like, stop it. Like, you're doing too fucking much. Like, he just seemed like he did, like, one extra thing. And I was like, no. You know, like he got rid of a first, brought in McCabe and Lafferty, but then moved Rasmus Sandin for like there were so many moving parts. And I was like, these guys aren't, like, I don't know. It just seemed like too much. So, yeah, it'll be nice to kind of go into a deadline potentially with a team that's playing poorly and doesn't trade the futures. Maybe does move the third-round pick for a depth piece. Perfect. That sounds lovely. It's not going to be like a stressful day where every time my phone buzzes, I start, like, having a bead of sweat roll down my face or something. So, looking forward to that. What I'm also looking forward to is looking at tonight's hockey games. So, right now, all we have is... we have 2 games on the go. Colorado, Philadelphia, and Tampa Bay, Buffalo. But we're not going to talk about those. What we're going to do is we're going to go old school, guys. We're going to play a little bit of Bettor Advice. We're taking $100 theoretical dollars, betting it on, I don't know, any number of games that we would like, and keeping tabs of how we do. Last time, I feel like Grant... I don't know. He was up a little bit-ish. I was down a little bit, and my plays, I think I'm down $60 on the year.
I think I'm up a little bit, but I got fleeced last time we did Bettor Advice. I don't want to... Maybe I went 0-4. It might have been an 0-4 night, but I was up like 200-something, so I'm probably at like 1-something.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so you've got a $160-ish lead. What kind of plays you got for tonight?
I got 3. Well, 4. You know my standard. How many do you have?
I have 3, but one of mine has like conditions of picks. So
I'm interested to hear more about that. All right, I'll just lead off here. Maybe I'm a pessimistic person by nature. Maybe I'm just constantly rooting against teams that I hate. And maybe that's what makes this pick a little bittersweet for me, because I have a play in the Jets versus Senators tonight. And like I said, Winnipeg just can't keep doing this. They just can't keep winning games and shutting out opponents and posting a fucking 94.1% save percentage at 5-on-5. Ottawa, frisky team, especially on home ice. So the combination of Winnipeg's offense, Ottawa's offense, and anticipated regression from the Jets, and Sens goalies are just shit. Mick called it at the start of the year. Korpisalo was never the answer. We're starting to see that now. Anyways, over 6.5 plus 106. It just gets the engines revving. I was deciding between that or Senators as plus money underdogs. I'm deciding to go with the over, expecting them. If they are going to win, it's likely they're going to need an offensive outburst.
Nice. Okay, awesome. And that's 30?
$30 to win 31.80.
80. Awesome. For my first pick, I'm going to the marquee matchup in my mind for tonight. The Super Bowl, as it was for a Vancouver Canucks fan. Oh, man, you have the best team, the best team ever. The Leafs coming to town. You got to give it to them so bad because, I don't know. Why don't you care about other teams like that? Why don't they have other cachet? They don't even, like, the Leafs don't even get shown in marquee matchups on Tuesdays. Are they even that good? Oh, my brain started to stroke out. That's not a good sign. Give me Toronto. Vancouver. I like Vancouver side. Minus 126. Not great value, but I think they have a pretty good chance of beating kind of a Maple Leafs team that has been reeling a little bit. Not playing the best hockey. They have some shaky goaltending. Who would have thought that your third stringer, Martin Jones, wasn't the answer in net? That's strange. $30 to win. Boop, boop, boop. What does that get me? $54? Okay, sure.
Cool. I'm conflicted on that one. I'm not trying to root against both teams, but I don't want either.
It was either last year or 2 years ago. This was a matchup on a Saturday night. My wife was going to a show with her mom. So her dad, my father-in-law, was like, I'll stick around here. We'll watch a hockey game. Great. Well, the Leafs gave up 2 shorthanded goals on a power play. It was like 3-0. The Leafs weren't playing well, and I had a father-in-law who was sleeping that if I tried to change the channel, would wake up and question why I was changing the channel off the hockey game I didn't want to have to watch. So I was kind of stuck in this like perpetual hell. So maybe that doesn't happen tonight, and I like have a good time, and I'm like, oh, cool, sweet. I just lost some money. I can live with that, move on with my life. But what's your second play?
I like that you've contingency planned for this. You're like, you know what? I'm never watching a Vancouver Canucks and Leafs game at home ever again.
Nope, I'm going to be out on the road, and then if something happens, like, oh, my dog really needs my help. I have to go.
Second play, though. All right, here we go. This this line just kind of jumped out at me as a little curious. The Devils are hosting the Stars tonight. I know Dallas is a good team. I know New Jersey isn't as good as we saw them last year, but they have turned a corner lately. Their offense is starting to deliver, and at a time when Stars goaltenders are starting to kind of shit the bed. Over the last month, their save percentage has dropped to 89.2%. Meanwhile, New Jersey has recorded, I think it was 3 or more goals in 4 of 6, 6 of 8, something like that. In any regard, I like the Devils' offense at home against Stars goaltenders who are seemingly struggling. Plus 112, $30 to win, 33.60.
30 to win, 33.60. Sick. All right. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Devils. Are they good? Are they bad? I
don't even think they know.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, they had that blip in the postseason, right? And they've just kind of never, like, excelled since then, too, right? For myself, my second play, this is kind of where things, well, this one actually is pretty normal. It gets weird after this. We're going to have 2 dragons after this one. Two dragons. We're going to go with the Oilers, Flames. Saturday night, 12-game win streak. Oilers. I'm just going to fade you until you lose. So I'm going to take the Calgary Flames at home. They played pretty good hockey against the Coyotes and Leafs this week. Were they looking ahead at the Oilers coming to town? Probably. Have the Oilers own this team? Absolutely. Is winning 13 hockey games in a row a lot? Probably. Are they going to slip some point? Damn rights they are. So is it tonight? We'll find out. So Calgary plus 135 and put $30 on that play.
I don't hate that play. I don't.
All right.
But I also have a play in this one.
Oh, shit.
And Hockey Night in Canada, there's just so much about this game that I'm like, yes, this game's going to a shootout. Extended winning streak, Hockey Night in Canada, classic rivalry matchup. I was like, yes, we're doing this. It seems there's not really any rhyme or reason sometimes to shootout bets. Sometimes it's just, you know what, I think this game's going to an overtime. So 60-minute money line, taking it as a tie, plus 380, $30 to win 114. And just to shut the book, if you parlay all 3 of those picks together, that is Oilers, Flames, overtime, Devils money line, and over 6.5 in Ottawa. I got $10 left, $10 to win 199.63.
63. Sick. And then for myself, my last play is a cascading play, like I alluded to. So if Edmonton wins tonight, I want Columbus. I'm going to put $40 on Columbus on Tuesday. All right. Now, if the Oilers win tonight or lose tonight, then I would like Seattle to beat Toronto tomorrow night for $40.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So there's, yeah.
So Oilers win to Columbus. Oilers lose, goes to...
Oilers win, Seattle. Seattle beats Toronto tomorrow. Oilers lose, then I want... Fuck. Columbus. No, I said that. Yeah, is that right? No, Oilers win, Columbus. Oilers lose, Seattle.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well, now I'm invested not just in tonight's outcomes, but also down the road. This is exciting stuff.
That's the play. That's what we're doing, guys. We're teasing here. So you got to watch tonight to find out where my $40 is spent, potentially tomorrow or on Tuesday night. So
I dig it.
They have to. Like, there's no way the Oilers, there's no way I'm getting on at a 12-game winning streak, and I'm gonna like lose a lot of money against the Oilers, right? Like, I'm cashing in this week potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And I like that play, irregardless of outcome. So, even, I'm not telling you to do one thing or another. I honestly just think fate loves irony. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, the Oilers are going to have this monumental come-from-behind overtime win over the Flames on a Saturday night hockey game, and they're going to fall flat on their face against the 2 worst teams in the NHL.
Yeah,
I just think it's inevitable.
As soon as I saw that on the schedule, I was like, that's what's happening. That's how this ends. Yep. And then we have to be like, should they trade everyone? Is moving Draisaitl for a number 2 defenseman the answer the Oilers need? Everyone's like, oh, maybe. I'm hearing some reports.
You're going to see guys building guillotines out front of the Edmonton arena with torches in their hands. It's inevitable. And here's a completely square angle. I have been to a handful of games at the arena or Oilers' new arena. two of them have come against Chicago over the last couple of years, last little while maybe. They've lost both of those games, Chicago games that I've gone to, and I think they just suck against Chicago because they looked piss poor against them earlier this year too. So anyways, I think Chicago just has Edmonton's number.
It happens. Sometimes. Was that one year like the Red Wings? They weren't very good and they beat the Canadians across the board. They went like 0-6 or something against them, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and it kept the Habs out of the playoffs or something stupid like that.
I think so. Yeah. Those things like that happen when you notice them. If you take advantage of them, that's great because sometimes history does repeat itself again and again and again. Just like the end of our podcast repeats itself again and again and again. For at least for some reason, the YouTube analytics for like the younger male audience seem to be attached to the end of our show for some reason, and they'll just like repeatedly watch it for upwards of 2 to 4 minutes at a time. It's weird. What do we do at the end of our show that could allude to that?
As you were going through, my brain was spinning. I was like, I'm gonna fucking nail this segue, and then you took the words right out of my mouth. So here we are. The Canada Puck Podcast would not be the Canada Puck Podcast without our babe of the week. I have restocked the coffers, and you know what? I'm staring at a list of females who I was like, you know what? I'm excited to share all of these with Mick. But one who I got most excited about is a Ottawa PWHL. I don't think they have team names. Goaltender, and it was Mashmeyer, the E. Mashmeyer. Anyways, it came across her feed. One of the backup goalies in Ottawa. Her name is Rachel McQuigg. RACHEL MCQUIGGE.
Rachel.
Oh
yeah.
There's just something about her, Mick. There's just something about Miss Rachel McQuigg where I'm like, you know what? I can't get enough of you in my life. Princeton alum, Ottawa professional hockey player now. We'd be lucky to have a lady like this in our lives. Rachel McQuigg. She is our babe of the week. Schwing.
That's it. Brains, beauties. She has it all. Except for she lives in Ottawa. So that's too bad.
Yeah. Except she's, stuck playing hockey with those frostbitten bastards in Ottawa.
Yeah, poor guys. But Rachel McQuigg, you are babe of the week. Schwing. Sick.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is going to be a good day. Good day for Grant White.
Very, very nice. Awesome. So with that, that's it. Our show's over. We are done. You have a little bit of preview going into the weekend. Do with the information that we provided you as you will. And we'll be back next week, definitely, to talk some hockey. Probably not the week afterwards, because it's the All-Star weekend, and like we talked about, outside of trying to talk ourselves out of depression, no need for that. So definitely talk next week. Maybe we'll give ourselves a break here. So with that.
Unless you want to listen to two drunk guys talk about what a disaster the All-Star game weekend is, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. No one wants that.
Not at all. Like we don't know what's going on. There's a skills competition. There's points. There's money rewarded. Is it just Austin? Like, is it just Connor McDavid? I don't.
Does he get $1 million? Does the money just go to Connor McDavid for doing everything and beating everybody? Who knows? And you know what? We're not going to be around to find out either.
But we are happy to announce that the people in the Columbus area will get the All-Star game because it is regionally locked just for the Blue Jackets fans, all the faithful. So it's pretty exciting. We won't be able to watch it. Obviously, we'll have to read reports or find some illegal streaming sites. But pretty excited to break some laws to watch hockey.
Dozens of fans celebrated.
Woo! But until then, we have to say goodbye for now and talk to you guys next week. And I think we say at the end of every show, party on, Grant.
Party on, Mick. We'll see everybody next week.